Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for the Grain Producer webinar today, looking at the drought loan scheme that was launched in February of this year. On the presentation today, we have PIRSA, Karen Hollanby, we have Cherie and Simon from QRIDA, who are the administrators of the drought loan scheme and the assessors of the scheme. And we also have Julianne Fiddig from RBS as well, to answer any questions, but also to update on what RBS's role can be in helping applicants for the drought loan scheme themselves, whether and when, at what point can RBS, I guess, insert some help in the application process. Without further ado, though, I'll pass over to Karen. I do want to start, though, and for all those attending today, thank you. But whilst the webinar is prepared to inform members, it doesn't take into account personal circumstances. So, as always, please consult with a professional for appropriate advice to your circumstance and seek that independent advice. Today's webinar is informative, but it sometimes deliberately it's vague because we don't know your personal circumstance. So, Karen, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brendan and Charlotte, for organising for us to be here today. So, as Brendan has said, my name is Karen and I'm with PIRSA, managing the drought loan scheme in the state government. So, the South Australian government announced the drought loan scheme on the 4th of February. The Premier actually announced it. The intent is to provide concessional working capital loans to support farming businesses in the most affected drought regions of the state. So the loan scheme is managed by PIRSA, but it's administered by our Queensland Rural Industry Development Authority partners, so QRIDA, who will be able to speak with you shortly. The intent of the loan scheme is to help businesses manage cash flow pressures, support continued operations and recovery, and assist producers while seasonal conditions improve. The focus of the loan scheme is for grain producers and livestock producers, noting that beekeepers are actually incorporated into this scheme as well. And it's available for the Murray-Mallee, the Riverland and the Upper North. So those particular councils that are highlighted on the map in front of you. The key financial settings for this is that we have a funding pool of $200 million available. The maximum loan amount per application is $250. The loan term is up to 10 years and applications opened on the 23rd of March and they close on the 31st of December. We had an expression of interest process from the 5th of February. So if people registered their interest through the PIRSA website, that didn't automatically have your application started with QRIDA, and you'll need to go through the actual process of applying with QRIDA. You should have received advice from PIRSA around when the scheme opened. We apologise if you haven't seen it, but please go through the PIRSA website to find out how to progress an application. So the concessional loan structure for years 1 to 2 is that the interest rate is the 50% of the Commonwealth 10-year bond rate. No repayments are needed in those first 2 years, and interest accrued is added to the principal. In the years 3 to 10, the interest rate is 100% of the Commonwealth 10-year bond rate. Interest and principal repayments begin and are organised to be paid down. The loans must be secured by a mortgage over farming land or associated water licences or water entitlements. We've had some questions about what constitutes a security, and we have secured properties outside of the state. Please talk to QRIDA if you've got circumstances that don't fall within South Australia. The guidelines provide details of what the funds can be used for. So we can use the funds for employee wages, paying creditors, fuel and operational costs, rent and rates, cropping or livestock production costs. What it can't be used for is refinancing existing debt, private or domestic purchases, non-business investments, tax liabilities, equipment or asset purchases. So the eligibility criteria requires that you must be operating a primary production business, be registered with an ABN and GST, have operated for at least 3 years, demonstrate financial impact from drought. This is really important where RBS can support, and also show capacity to repay the loan. And you will need to provide a farm business resilience plan within the first 2 years once you've received a loan approval. The application process, we ask that you review the scheme guidelines, which are on the PIRSA website, prepare your required documentation. We have a documentation checklist, which gives you an opportunity of putting all of your information together before you start the process of completing the application through QRIDA's portal, and then also providing that supporting information within the portal. Application preparation support. Obviously, we have rural financial counsellors who are highly skilled and available to support you with putting your documentation together and assisting in the narrative to demonstrate your need. You've also got accountants and business advisors that you would normally use that you can get advice from. And once you lodge your applications through the QRIDA portal, QRIDA staff are available to assist. There's some websites, key websites for you to be able to access all of the information that I've just talked about and shared. And now I get to hand over to QRIDA.
Thanks very much, Karen. So now we'll hear from QRIDA, who are the assessors, and whilst PIRSA manage the scheme, it is QRIDA that is, given their experience in I guess Queensland floods and other natural disasters for these sort of programs, QRIDA has been engaged to administer the drought loan scheme. And I'll throw over now to Cherie and Simon.
Hi, thanks everybody. Thanks for having me and thanks for joining us online. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what QRIDA does and you know, like, I guess, get you comfortable with the idea of us actually supporting the South Australian primary industries to actually do this, and why, you know, why QRIDA have been engaged with that. So we've been around for a long, long time. I think point 3 that you'll see on your screen there, we've been around for over 30 years now. We have been administering loans and grants and rebates and subsidies for primary producers through that entire time. And we've done it for not just Queensland, but we have done it on a federal level, and we have also engaged with other states and territories to administer for you know, their requirements as well. We actually work under legislation, under the Rural and Regional Adjustment Act of 94, Section 11A, if you want to get really technical in there. It allows us to deliver those schemes to other states. So it is all under legislation, and it's all above board, and it's rigid edge. So, but we are the specialists for doing this, for client service, for loan assessing, and all of that loan management stuff that comes apart from just getting the yes and giving you the money. Of course, there's that follow-up. We have to, you know, we talk to you every year. We do all of those things. So we've got a team that are experts in this, and we have been supporting primary producers for a very, very long time that have been impacted by drought. So if I go into my next slide, it's just a little bit further about our loan expertise. So are we right to go on to the next slide? Excellent. So that's just showing you there what we have done. So obviously, you know, being amounts of around about the same as what we deliver now. Queensland have got, currently we don't have any, because we don't have any official drought declarations in our region, but we do have emergency drought assistance loans and carry-on loans, as well as ready recovery, which is another step in the drought cycle. But they're, similar sizes, similar deals, 10-year terms, all of those sorts of things. So this is something that we have done. We also do much ones for disaster as well, not just for the drought. And also during COVID, Queensland Government delivered some job support loans that we, QRIDA, delivered on behalf of the Queensland Government, similar size, but then also we do bigger ones as well. We have First Start loans, which is up to 2 mil, and sustainability loans, which is up to 1.3 million. So we have a lot of expertise in this region. But then I guess the really big crux of it is how to apply. So Karen's already gone through, like the basic details, read through the guidelines that are on the PIRSA website. There is a document checklist that lets you know what you're going to need, and then going through to the portal. The portal explains what you need there, that statement of assets and liabilities, the production schedules, the cash flow, all of those sorts of things. There's a couple I've got on my next page, which I'll get to in a sec. I actually got some hints and tips. So I'm going to go in a little bit, not too in depth, because like what, we've said earlier, that it is about individual. It's looked at everybody as a case by case situation. There's no real blanket here. But it is important that you do have any questions, give us a call. Now, that number on the screen there, 1800 623 946, we actually have a dedicated team for the South Australia drought loans, so you will be placed through to that team. And if they're not available, they get the email and we ring you back. That is my team, and I know that they have a 24 to 48 hour turnaround. I know that. So rest assured that someone will get in contact with you. And if you've left a message and you get a call from a Queensland number, it's just going to be us. So if we go through to the next page, this is my little hints and tips page. It's probably a little bit small, and I apologise for that, but you guys screenshot this, keep a copy of it. But you're going to need your ID. So you do log in with some identification. So obviously a birth certificate, and if that's different, if you found yourself that your name's changed due to marriage or circumstances, just have both of those forms ready to go. But a driver's license, a Medicare card, passport, basically what you need for 100 points of ID. So it's going to be relatively easy. But then when we get into the application side of things, so we do need evidence of that business premises. So because, it's the Murray, the upper north, the Riverland, those regions, you have to show that your primary producer is in that area. So it's really easy. You might have a lease agreement if you're leasing your property. It might be a rates notice. It's as simple as that. Financial statements for the last 3 years, because obviously you need, as part of the guidelines, you need to be a primary producer for the last 3 years, so we can show that. A statement of assets and liabilities, which, it shouldn't be too difficult, but there is a form if you need to fill that in. Personal tax returns for the previous financial year, 3 years for the same reason. Now, that can come from your ATO standard. Your accountant probably has that as part of your financials anyway, so it's probably all part and parcel of that same thing. The next one is the next two, actually, monthly cash flows for current and next financial year. So monthly cash flows for the current and the next financial year, and your production schedules. Now, I've got a little bit in the blue section there. One of the big hints for that, utilise the QRIDA production schedule and cash flow spreadsheets that are available on the website. It's going to make your system a lot smoother. It's going to make assessment a lot easier. It's just a nice, easy form to fill in, and it keeps it concurrent. But a good reminder is that remember to make them financial year, because and they should marry up. Your production schedule and your cash flow, make them marry, make them look the same. So, but do it financial year, not necessarily the production year, because we know that it doesn't always fit neatly and nicely between July through to June. But if we can make those look a financial year, the assessment process is going to be a lot quicker for you. And then the next one is your ATO integrated client account statement, which is available online. You just log into that and download it and put it part of it. Schedule of accounts. So that's just a form that lets us know what your accounts look like, where you are lending from, where you are, where you have your deposits, all of that sort of thing. And in that blue section again, the last hint and tip, let your bank know that you're applying. some of your statement of account, schedule accounts rather, might be needed to sign by your bank manager. But even if it's not, let your bank know you're applying, because it makes the whole system a lot smoother, because then they know that QRIDA is going to be calling them to talk about things. It might be about the mortgage, it might be about lots of different things, but let them know so they're not blindsided by getting a call from QRIDA assessment saying that you're getting lending from them. The next one is, oh no, not the next screen, sorry, but the next one is a trust deed. If you're actually part of a trust, make sure that you do include any variations as well to that trust deed. And then the last point is really important, that bank statement. We're not actually looking to see how much money you've got in your account necessarily, but it needs to show your BSB and account name, because on your application you will be requested to put in your BSB and account name. And there have been many, many times where people put the wrong BSB and account name in there and the money goes and we can't get it back. So we like to double and triple check that we're putting it into the right account. So that's really, really important, that front page of that statement showing the BSB and account name. Onto the next page. This one here is just really about what happens, I guess, more after the fact. So we receive it, we create an ID for you, it's registered, and then they look into approving the loan. Then you receive a terms and conditions of the loan facility. It's all uploaded into the system, and then you are sent the loan documentation, which includes the mortgages and things like that as well. Once all of that is returned, we draw down the loan, and it might be a progressive loan, it might be a once-off, lots of things. And then those funds are transferred into that nominated bank account that we've checked with that bank statement, BSB and account number. Then the ongoing management of this, yearly account statements, we send them out to you, and then loan reviews are completed every single year. So the acquittal of the funding that you've spent, so we give you the money, you spend the money, and then at that review, you show us with those invoices how you spent that money, and then those interest rates might change depending on the conditions of the loan. The limit gets adjusted for the interest. All of those sorts of things happens in the back. If there are any difficulties and there's arrears or there's failure to pay, those things are followed up in that ongoing management. Then at the end of the day, the repayment of the loan is done. You can do an early payout. There's no penalties to making those payouts earlier, unlike other financial institutions there might be. We close the account, we release the security, and then we issue your final statement, and then it's all done and dusted. So it's kind of, I know I make it sound really simple and easy, and I know that sometimes it's not, but it can be as simple as this. I guess that really is the next one. I just wanted to let you guys know about what it looks like so far. So we've received 90 applications. 39 of those are still being looked at. They've just, new financial year, we tend to see people, I'm about to get really dark here, I apologise. New financial year, we seem to see a few come in, which is really, really good. So there are 30, it's nice even numbers here, 39 in progress, and 39 have already gone out. We've already seen 39 applications been approved. But the number there that's on the bottom, 48 applications are live in draft form. That means that there's 48 people that are sitting there working on it, or haven't fully made a decision, fully haven't committed to sending it in. And they're just sitting there. If any of you that are online are one of those 48, I would highly recommend that you give that number a call, just to give us a buzz and see if we can help you through it. You might have some further questions. Just wanted to, even though this is a really negative thing to end on, and I apologise that, but I'm just going to let you know what the 3 top reasons are for decline. The first one is that there's no capacity to service the loan, or there's no demonstrable financial viability moving forward. The second one is that they have not already utilised other finance or liquid assets that are already available. So that's existing credit limits, existing overdraft limits, or if you've got an FMD or a term deposit. There's no expectation that you have to go out, you have to talk to your existing bank and see what they can do for you. That is not the case at all. It's just stuff that you already have. And then the last one is that they haven't demonstrated any significant financial impact of drought. So I've got a few minutes here. I've also got a colleague, Simon. He actually doesn't have a camera, but he's online here available to take any questions that you may have from us. Simon is an assessor. He's a senior assessor of these. He's been doing these since they started. So any of those technical questions, he's here to help. Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
So thank you, Sheree. Thanks for running us through how, I guess, the loan scheme is administered. And thanks for showing the data at the end there. About 90 applications received, 39 are, I guess, in the throes of it at the moment. You've already got 39 out the door as it is, and there's those 48, those who've maybe tested the waters and either not sure about it, need to get more paperwork together, need to get the push to progress and see if it's successful or not, one way or another.
Yeah. And I hope that the 48 aren't self-assessing, like sitting there going, oh, I don't think this is for me, or I don't think I quite fit into that box. Don't answer that question yourself. Ring us and we can help you through that.
That's a good point. Thank you, Sheree. And kind of the reason for our webinar today, and I just wanted to share something that Sheree mentioned the other week when we were preparing for this. If for those who are declined, Sheree, just back me up here. For those who declined, it's not a black mark against your credit rating or something. If you've tried and for one of those reasons, no capacity or viability of ongoing the business, or you haven't exhausted your other options you may have, term deposit, FMD, or there's no demonstrable impact of drought, which I'd find hard to see, but that may well be the case. And you get told, no, this drought loan scheme is not going to be given to you. It's not a black mark against your credit rating there.
No, not at all. So it doesn't come into play at all. There's no black mark. There's no, and even if you've been declined and before the 31st of December this year, you say, oh well, you know what? They said that I didn't demonstrate significant financial impact of drought, but I can now, and you come back to us. It does not affect the fact that we don't even look at that first. No, we look at what you've put into us in front, and no credit mark does not leave the files of QRIDA, doesn't go outside whatsoever. I guess the other thing too is that if you are declined, there is an opportunity to appeal. So there's always that opportunity to appeal. But yeah, just we encourage people that if things have changed and you can demonstrate it, apply again. Doesn't hurt.
And maybe on that point, we'll go to RBS now, and we've got Julianne and Phoebe from RBS stepping into the breach. Thank you very much, Julianne, for her colleague Chris, who wasn't able to be here today. But Julianne, I'll hand over to you there.
Excellent. Thanks, Brendan. Thanks everyone for joining this morning, and yeah, really looking forward to chatting further about how I guess RBS can assist any producers out there who might be unsure of where to go next, interested in the loans but not really sure where to start. So I guess just a bit of background about the Rural Financial Counselling Service. So obviously we free, independent and definitely confidential support for primary producers across both South Australia and the Northern Territory. So we can pretty much work with any grain growing business in South Australia who's experiencing financial difficulties or at risk of. So, and I guess this loan product definitely fits in that basket, given the past couple of seasons we've had here in SA with the ongoing drought conditions and all those other impacting factors that are affecting grain growers at the moment. So we've been around for a little while too. So this is, our 20th year of service in South Australia. So we're quite familiar with the work we do and how we can support growers with these types of loan products. So I guess other things on broader terms that we can do as well up there on your screens in front of you. So it's really about that financial understanding of your business. So I'm really familiar with all these types of forms and documents that you have to put into these loan applications. So we can definitely well-versed team in background in that. Several of our team have backgrounds in accounting and banking and things like that. So I'm very comfortable looking at your figures and having discussions around your cash flows and debts. Really happy to help out producers with these loan applications. And I guess on the screen too, there's I guess a bit of a broader list of things we can do. So if you come to us, it's not only, we don't just do the the loan applications, but we can have a bit more of a holistic look at your business and help with other areas that you might need assistance with too. If you want to go on with the next slide. So I guess in all terms, we do encourage producers to reach out to us early. So whether you've heard about these loans and like Cherie said, don't self-assess. Please also get in contact with us and we can have a look at things and whether or not, perhaps you hadn't thought about it before, but if you're in one of the eligible areas, it's definitely a really good option to have a look at, even if you think that maybe on face value you wouldn't be able to get it. Well worth having a chat with us. I think a lot of the important things have been covered off that we'd really like you to focus on, I guess, before you make the application. It's really important to get prepared. The PIRSA website has, I guess, that really good document checklist that's been mentioned already. The things that is really important that you get everything in line before you go on and start the application. Makes the process a lot easier if you can go through and get your cash flows done. Like Cherie's hinted, if you use the templates, if you've got your own cash flows that you already use but would prefer to help, we can help, I guess, get your information into the format that is easiest for QRIDA to assess, just to make the process go more smoothly. I guess the other tip would be that it's really important that you do, I guess, provide a really full overview of your business. The team obviously experts at what they do, but every new application they pick up, they're obviously seeing someone's business for the first time. So it's really important that you can provide as much detail as you can and clear detail. I know we deal with a lot of people that know everything in their head, but don't necessarily have it written down on paper. So part of our role can definitely be helping you to get that data that you know inside and out, put that into a paper form, because obviously the person that picks up your application has not seen your business before. So it's just really important that you I guess, tell them everything they need to know so that they can do their job easily. I think that may be about all the slides I have. The last one is obviously just our contact details there. So if you are at all interested or have any other questions about the loan products or what to do next, please definitely give us a call on our 1-800 number. We'll connect you in with your local rural financial counsellor who will come out, generally have the meeting with you on property and can sit down sort of face-to-face and work through some of those documents with you. Website there, or also the email address if you'd prefer to make an online inquiry, that's also fine with that as well. So I guess happy to take any questions that people have if they've got any, or please, any questions, just get in touch with us. We're more than happy to help people with the application process.
Thanks, Julianne. Thanks, Karen, for driving the slides there as well. That's a good point. If people aren't comfortable with sharing questions today and in the sort of Q&A in the chat box today, I will share the contact details for those for QRIDA, for the PIRSA drought loan scheme sort of help page, and also for RBS, our three presenters today. So they'll come after the follow-up email for all those who've registered today, as well as this webinar, this presentation being online. I hope by lunchtime tomorrow. We just need to cut out my awkward bits and then and put it up. I've just got a couple of questions if I could sort of open the to the floor here. Julianne, maybe while I've got you on the screen at the start, but what assistance is available from RBS to sort of help those applying for the drought loan scheme themselves?
So definitely, like I said, get in touch with us. We will, get one of your local rural financial counsellor in contact with you. Generally, like I said, we'll come out and see you on farm, go through all your documents with you. I guess my biggest tip, and as Cherie and Karen have also hinted, we'll go through that document checklist with you, make sure that you've got all those things that you need. Particularly, I guess our expertise is in around development of the cash flow forecast, the production schedule. So your cropping details, like really to help get that. Hopefully people have got those records, but like I said, not everyone have got them in an online format. So, you know, whether it's in your elders notebook, we can help you get that into the format that QRIDA assessors are looking for. So that'll be, you know, areas planted, price received, yields, all that kind of data for the last 3 years, your assets and liabilities. So often, yeah, you will have a balance sheet in your financial statements that the accountant prepares, but that's not necessarily the current market values for some of those assets. So we can help producers go through and get that into a nice, you know, Excel spreadsheet format. Yeah, so it's, I guess, around helping people prepare those financial and production documents that are required for the application. Generally, once all those background documents are prepared, the online portal, once you've got your login, is quite easy to follow through step by step. You can save and go back later if you need to. And then I guess it's also building that bigger picture or the story around the drought impact. So just making sure that producers have clearly articulated the impacts that they've had on them from the drought, and then also in terms of what they are looking for the loan to use, to make it quite clear that they've got the right expenses, or, you know, what things they can actually use the loan for, just to double check that is all very clear, and also flows through with their cash flows and those types of things that they're supplying, so that what they want to use the loan for, they actually can demonstrate in their cash flows, etc., that the need is there. So
thank you. Maybe one for Simon and Cherie. What how is it weighted off-farm income? So we've heard some feedback from growers that they feel like whilst they're doing all they can to sustain the business during drought and take off-farm income, that is seen somewhat negatively in the assessing process. Do you have some comments to that, please?
Yeah, I'll comment on that. Thank you very much. So with the off-farm income, we respect the efforts of farmers. You know, they go and seek off-farm income during the drought periods, and we understand that, excuse me, completely. I guess the thing that we need to look at is in a normal year, or what we call a normal season, and if the primary production income outweighs the non-primary production income in a normal season, then that's fine, because then in a drought season, when the drought is on, your non-primary production income will outweigh the primary production income, which has no impact at all on our decision, because we can understand that you're out there and your cash flow has been impacted by the drought, so you've sourced non-primary production income to be able to continue on. I guess if we were to look at an application and the non-primary production income prior to the drought in a normal year was higher all the way across, then I guess you don't meet the eligibility guidelines, which is a majority of your income has to be from primary production. So that's how we assess that. If it's definitely in the drought years, not a problem at all. We understand that, you know, you have to go out and do that in these tougher times. So yeah, it's only if it's across the last 5 or 6 years where your non-primary production income has been greater would be the concern.
Thank you. What I got you there, Simon. How long does an application from start to finish sometimes take? If all documents are, I guess, in order and there's not too much back and forth, how quick can it be?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I guess it all depends. If all the documents are in play and everything is correct, we've had applications that have only taken 1 to 2 days, and we've submitted them through to the decision maker, and then depending on their workload, it might be another 1 day. So within 2 to 3 days, we can have an answer back to a client. However, it depends on the application itself and how many entities the applicant might have, because we have to consolidate all the financials, and that starts to take a little bit of time looking at that. If the information that we have to hand is not correct and we have to chase it up, that can also take a lot longer. Now, one thing that we are noticing that does seem to take a lot of time is when we go to contact the commercial bank, and like Cherie said, let your bank know that you're doing it, because sometimes they aren't aware of it, and we want to start discussing deed of priority arrangements. And because they're not aware of the application, they have to really start from fresh and get an understanding and ask us what you're applying for. And then they have to go to their credit department, and that can extend it. But, you know, it's an interesting question. Like I said, it's almost like how long is a piece of string? But, yeah, those are some of the little tips that can stretch out the timing, that's for sure.
Appreciate that. Cherie, you touched on at the end of your presentation the appeal process. Can you just talk to that a bit more as to what that looks like? So a producer, a grower, has been given a no, that they won't get the loan that they applied for, in the scheme. And then I take it they're informed of their appeal rights. So what's the next step after that?
Yeah, sure. So you will receive, if unfortunately you do receive a decline, that in that decline letter, the appeal process is actually stepped out. So it isn't a huge, difficult process. It is just a matter of expressing that you would like an appeal and why you would like the appeal, and addressing addressing the key points that are in that decline. So if you were declined because of XYZ, actually address what XYZ is in that appeal, and then it's put through. You do only have a month window in which to make that appeal happen, and then, but from then it is actually very easy, and it is outlined in that letter for you.
Julianne, I'll just bring you in. Is that something that RBS could also help out with as well at that point?
I would say so. I guess our role would be more so in, as Cherie's hinted at, addressing those XYZ things which may not have been covered off clearly in the initial application. So I guess we would just be providing another set of eyes on the business to say, hey, maybe you didn't show, enough cash flow, but, what other things could you be including, or, have you provided assumptions behind that? So it's just, perhaps just helping the producers in that instance with another set of eyes on their business, just to provide any guidance. I probably would make the disclaimer that just having RBS involved would not be a reason that the appeal would be successful, but obviously we can provide some guidance and maybe some alternatives if need be. So
appreciate it. That's all my questions for today, and from the participants today. I guess the main takeaway I find is that, if, first of all, don't self-assess. We've kind of repeated that message a couple of times. Don't self-assess. So if there are those 48 people who are in draft, whether they're still gathering the documents or still working towards pressing the application button, if the worst thing would be to self-assess and you miss out without knowing for sure. The point I made with Cherie earlier was that even if you were to get a decline, it's not a black mark against your credit rating. There might be other commercial arrangements you could do in other ways. And if you were to get the decline, there is an appeal process there. You do have 1 month to sort of work through that. And what was missing or why you were declined seems to be set out in the decline data from QRIDA themselves. So it's hopefully today's webinar has been useful for those who are tuning in now, but also we'll put this on our website for anyone else who can find the time to watch it as well. But I just want to say thank you to Julianne, Karen, Cherie, Simon, and my colleague Charlotte as well for getting together today, organising and presenting today. I hope it's going to be informative and sort of encourage those who might be thinking about it to apply for the drought loan scheme. And for those who may be halfway already applied, just keep persisting with it. But thanks again for your time today.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you, Brendan. Thanks, everyone.